Hi, I'm Drew Wilson from FreezeNet. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. The table is out, and you know what that means. It is finally, once again, show and tell time. So what I have right now in front of you is a couple of consoles that I've been working with. The first console here is, of course, the PlayStation 3, which I've been working and playing on with for about 2 years now. And it's been holding up reasonably well. It's been a pretty good library so far, and overall I've been kind of enjoying my experience. And of course the next console is the Xbox 360. And this has been something I've been playing with for the last year, and I thought, since I've introduced this last year, then well, I can just talk about my experiences and my overall, what I've been noticing with this console. And one of the things I did notice has to do with the controller, which I thought was kind of interesting because it had a battery pack. And one thing I didn't really take into account last time when I showed this off was just how the batteries go in. So as you can see, it has like a little sled thing going on with it. And you just put the batteries in there, and then you slide it in here, and then you're good to go. And I have to say that has been a very interesting method of actually plugging something in, because it is not something I am actually used to. So, for instance, I have my old classic Game Boy, and I'm honestly more used to let's see if I can get this open, when I just open a little trap door up, put the batteries in, no big deal, and then just seal up whatever afterwards. And it's generally a pretty straightforward thing, and I didn't think anything about that needed to be modified. And so when it came to this controller, I was kind of surprised, but it seemed to the way they put way you get to put the batteries in is actually kind of interesting, and definitely much more unique than I'm used to say the least. So since this actually has battery life, since it has actually batteries, then I'll have to talk about battery life. And because this obviously is plugged in, and this obviously is not, so the question then becomes, how long do batteries last? And I have to say, I was actually quite surprised by how long the batteries did in fact last, although I have a feeling it has something to do with how I actually played the console. Now, as you would expect, this takes two AA batteries, and these two is what I started with when I played the console. Now, to be fair, I was only playing one game per month, usually about 2 or 3 days, maybe 4, a week at most. And then I would take the batteries out of the controller, shut this whole thing down, and have it ready for next month. So I wasn't exactly using it 24/7. And for the most of the year, it stayed pretty close to full power. And then I started playing Forza Motorsport 2, which, as some of you may know, it takes a little bit longer to play. So as I played through it, I started noticing like the lights kind of circling in a circling manner, and I wasn't exactly sure what that meant at first. And then I realized the battery actually drained, and it took me a bit to figure that out. But hey, I've never had a battery fully drained before, and so it was a new experience. And afterwards, I pulled these out, grabbed 2 new batteries, and I was good to go. And I'm still working on the second set of batteries today. So, as you may have guessed by the title, this isn't exactly about these particular consoles, but I just wanted to at least give you a nice follow-up to what I've been experiencing so far. And of course, one of the criticisms of the channel, I don't get very many criticisms that often, but one of the criticisms I did get is that the games I'm playing are really, really old. And it's all well and good to check these out, and it might be an interesting experience to see some of these older video games, but no one really cares about really old video games, which I suspect would be kind of news to people who actually specialize in retro gaming. But I am always open to experimentation and finding out new things for the first time, and today is no exception. So today I would like to introduce the newest addition to the collection. This is, of course, the PlayStation 4. Obviously, this is a follow-up to the PlayStation 3, and this, I believe, has a half a terabyte hard drive. And the PlayStation 4, of course, was released in 2013, November 2013. And it was interesting to try and actually get people to go from the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4 because there's so many great games on this console. Why would I need to upgrade when I still have plenty of games to still play with? And people were also using it as a cheap Blu-ray player, and it had a home entertainment system. So getting people to the PlayStation 4 did eventually happen, but it was a little bit tricky. Now, the other thing too about the PlayStation 4 is the fact that there was some interesting things that happened at the end of its lifespan, as you are no doubt well aware of. There was, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic, which hit a few years back, and it sparked unexpected things in the marketplace. This includes a global chip shortage. So when the PlayStation 5 came about a year or two ago now, I believe, then it became extremely hard to find one. In fact, it was like a long-running joke that, PlayStation 5 is great and if you actually can find one. Otherwise, you're going to just run into sold-out messages all over the place. So as a result, video game developers were trying to figure out, okay, how do we actually market our video games on a PlayStation 5 when almost no one has one? And so the answer ended up being, well, we will actually just go ahead and port these games over to the PlayStation 4 as well, so people can still play them. So it was an interesting conundrum, and it's pretty hard to fault Sony for that because, well, global pandemic, global chip shortage, supply chain shortages, all the other stuff, kind of beyond any one company's control, as far as I could tell, at least any one video game maker's control. But I'll definitely endeavor to try and check out games on the PlayStation 4 and see what it's like to play on a newer console, which I'm kind of excited about. And of course, like the PlayStation 3, there were games that you could actually order online and just play digitally, but it also had physical copies as well, and I have a number of them. So there was definitely a lot of different games available for the PlayStation 4. Some of them were exclusive, some of them were cross-platform, as you would expect, and there was a lot of titles that I was told are really good titles to pick up. And hopefully, because I have not played any of these games, that I wasn't too far off with what is actually a good game, but I will definitely find out if I personally like them or not sooner or later. And of course, there's classic titles. I was actually kind of excited to finally pick up this game so I can kind of round out that particular series. And of course, there is follow-up games like Gran Turismo Sport, which of course was a staple still is arguably a staple for the PlayStation line. And of course, something like Horizon Zero Dawn, which I'm told is a really, really good game. So I am going to be finding out what my experiences are going to be like in the future. So the next question, of course, is what will the release schedule be like now that I'm trying to incorporate the PlayStation 4? Well, I'm still trying to iron out one little kink in the system, but assuming I am able to do that, then I will be able to incorporate these games into the lineup. So as you know, right now I have, on the first week of the month, I have a Steam game that I preview. And then on week 2, I preview a PlayStation 3. And then on week 3, I have an Xbox 360. So week 2, week 3, and another Steam game. And of course, I have lots of, I have space for that. So my new schedule is going to be basically mostly the usual, Steam game for the first week, PlayStation 3 for the second, Xbox 360 for the 3rd week, and then I'm going to try and get a PlayStation 4 on the 4th week. And before I forget, yes, I do have a controller. And I was going to mention this earlier, but hey, live, right? So this is, of course, the PlayStation 4 controller, which is not too far off from the PlayStation 3 controller. I will set that there so you can have a bit of a comparison. And I have this mess of cables, which I'm told basically charges the controller. So a lot of cable, a lot longer than that one, I can tell you that much. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting experience to say the least. And I hope it's going to be a positive one. And from what I'm told, it probably will be. So that is all for now. Just wanted to hear from you. Did you have any fond memories of the PlayStation 4? Did you enjoy the video games on it, or were you more of a using it for an entertainment system? Let us know in the comments below. And for those of you who haven't actually played this particular console, was this something you were kind of curious about, or were you just maybe a die-hard PC gamer or an Xbox One gamer, that sort of thing, and never got into it? Or maybe you just had very little experience with it. Yeah, let us know in the comments below what you thought as well. And also, was I on track, or there were other games that you were interested in this console that I'm not showcasing here? Yeah, let us know in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you think are really good games, especially ones I can actually, manage to collect. And I know that one last note is that I often have a little bit of a soft limit for how new a game can be, and that was actually about 2015, and for release years. And with the PlayStation 4, that soft limit is now gone. So as long as I can find the game, it is on the PlayStation 4, and I can collect it, then I will be able to play it. So definitely curious to see how that plays out. So if you want to support this channel, there are plenty of ways you can do that. You can drop us a like and let us know, hey, you're doing a great job, keep up the good work. And if you want to also further support us, then there is the, subscribing to our YouTube channel. And you can turn on notifications, get real-time updates. It is the fastest way you can find out when I've uploaded something new. Obviously, you don't have to necessarily subscribe and turn on notifications, but it does help out. And just simply subscribing and even not turning on notifications, that will help me out as well. So if you want to help out this channel and maybe keep helping making this better YouTube channel, then I would greatly appreciate a subscription. That does help me out a lot. And of course, there is other ways you can find out about these videos, which leads me to the website, freezenet.ca. And on that, it has all our first impression videos, it has all our video game reviews, it has all our music reviews, it has all the latest in digital news and technology and all of digital rights stuff, lots of exciting stuff happening. And it even has a full-fledged wiki. So you can go on the wiki and check out all sorts of new music we haven't even reviewed, and things that you may not have always heard of and might be interested in adding to your music collections. So definitely something to check out as well. And if you want to further support the channel, there are other ways you can do that in a more direct way. And that, of course, is subscribing to our Patreon page, and that is patreon.com/freezenet. And you can get all sorts of insider information. You can find out ahead of time what we're checking out on the YouTube channel. You can even have early access to our podcast and a whole lot more. So lots of stuff you can check out, and lots of great ways you can get cool new features that is kind of more exclusive to you. And if Patreon isn't your thing, you don't want to do the whole subscription thing, that's okay. We also have our coffee page, coffee.com/freezenet, and it's kind of acts like our basically you're just a little tip jar. And no matter which way you support us, we'll make sure every dollar counts, and we can produce great content, we can produce more videos, build up a better website, and a whole lot more. So every dollar does count. So I guess that is all for now. And until next time, keep it cool.